Go ahead and get started with the, make sure we get through this by 7. First thing on the agenda for the work session is review of the Channel 900, 990 bylaws. And I'll let Martin kind of explain where we're at with
the Board of Community Access Cable has worked for the last year and a half, probably, on crafting a set of bylaws that they think is more workable than the one that they were functioning with. Originally, the establishment of the community cable television, there was an ordinance adopted in 1994 that had a provision that in the ordinance that the bylaws of the cable board may not be changed without the city of St. Genevieve's prior written approval. If the bylaws are changed without such approval, the cable board's authority under this ordinance shall immediately terminate. But then the bylaws that were adopted said the directors, arguably the directors of the cable television board, could amend the bylaws. So it wasn't clear what the intent of the original board when in approving this was. I would, and Frank can advise us on this, I would argue that the ordinance kind of trumps the bylaws, and that the amendments to this board's bylaws should have been reviewed and approved by the Board of Aldermen all along. Now, there hadn't been any harm from your not doing it, but the board that approved this wanted to stay engaged in the process. The version of the bylaws that the board wrote picked up the language that allows the board of directors of the television station to change the bylaws without the approval of the Board of Aldermen. So I think the purpose of tonight's discussion is to consider what was originally done, come to a common understanding of what the intent was, and then to decide which language you want to see in whatever bylaws are approved by you. Should you approve the bylaws as they're currently written, you will be giving up your role in reviewing and approving future sets of bylaws. Buck,
Oh, that's pretty much.
that good, Gary?
Well, there was a question. You said in '94 we had this agreement. The '95 bylaws that we've been since 1995 did not mention anything about the bylaws. It had something to do with the mayor appointing members to the board. But if you look through it, those bylaws did not say anything, it didn't say anything about the bylaws then.
Well, there's no record
That's what I'm saying. There's no record of anything.
a vote of this board on a set of bylaws after the original.
Correct.
So whatever bylaws were created or not created didn't comply with the provision for the Board of Aldermen to review them.
With your ordinance.
How many other entities, I guess, under city government have a set of bylaws? Like, does the municipal band have their own set? And
The band is independent of the Board of Aldermen. And you have agreed to make certain funds available to them from the van tax and to do grants, but it's an agreement with them. They aren't a creature of the Board of Aldermen.
And aren't they the same? They're not.
The band is actually a corporation, is my understanding.
And the band gets money by law, they get, as part of your taxes. Channel, the cable TV is, they're getting the pay access fees, but as far as anything by any tax money being used that they're established with there really isn't. It's just been by your decision every year to keep financing it. So that is a little bit unique in that part. Same with the park board, there is actually money in taxes that is set aside for the park board. And the band. Trying to think of anybody else that.
Well, we have the Tourism Advisory Board, it doesn't have any authority independent of you. Whatever they recommend to you, you have to vote on, but they have a set of bylaws that were adopted when they were established. And should they desire to change those bylaws, it would have to come back to this board for approval.
So that's the closest thing we have to compare to?
I can't think of anything else. He mentioned the park board.
Well, I mean, if two of them should follow it, then shouldn't every?
There's no, to my knowledge, there's no requirement, it's just kind of your decision.
This is kind of a standalone thing, I think, as far as this entity, the cable TV board.
I think that everybody that helps make this possible in St. Genevieve does a great job. I watch it not only on cable, but a lot on the internet. And then the things get up on YouTube just like that. Everybody's doing a great job. I do have a little concern with just the first section, 2.1 functions. I recognize that my interpretation is you're looking for autonomy to kind of run your own show, so to speak. And that's a good thing. And right now, we have a great team of people putting this together, doing a real service for the community. That's not to say that in next year or in 5 years that the people would change. And there's an opportunity for bickering and infighting when the other members of the board can just, okay, we're going to vote you off the board, and we're just going to vote you off the board. I think the Board of Aldermen needs to be a final say somehow in just about everything that happens that we fund, as well as this. The Board of Aldermen, whoever they happen to be next year or 5 years from now, they're elected public officials that are held accountable by the people that vote them in. That's just my general thought, that we need to be cautious not to let this be too tightly controlled, that if there were issues in the future, that the board could step in and kind of make things better. Does that make sense?
Yes, to a point. When you said that these people that are on the board, that all has to be approved by the board. It's brought up, even though we as a board approve certain personnel and structures, it has to be brought up by the mayor and approved by you all.
Have you ever seen how that process works? We get a piece of paper that says that the mayor wants to nominate someone to be on any number of boards or commissions, and we say yes, because we're happy that someone wants to be involved, because we have a lot of openings on boards and commissions, and it's hard to find people that will give their time.
Sure.
We don't do a background check, we don't verify qualifications, none of that. We pretty much,
Leave it up to them.
or we're happy that somebody's willing to take the job.
So you're wanting to set up something to where if we as a board would like this person to be a director, we're...
No, not at all. No, just in general, not that particularly.
Okay.
See if I can find the thing that really threw the red flag up to me. I probably won't be able to do that. Does that make sense to you, Mr. Mayor, what I'm saying? That somehow, to avoid conflict in the future, that if not just this board, but any, as you were saying, Joe, anything else that we do in the city that, things get out of hand, we can,
You think I think since you're saying we actually, I guess, finance the majority of their budget, that we should have a say in.
I don't want any board of aldermen to make their decisions.
Right.
At all. That's theirs to manage. But, I don't know, I think if the Board of Aldermen felt like the direction of this board was headed in the wrong direction, there should be some kind of fail-safe to be able to step in. I think we could probably do that amicably. We could have some conversations and do that. But if we're going to have to put all this in writing and accept these bylaws, I don't know, seems like we've got a little bit of a gray spot there if we couldn't do anything if it went south.
In what way you've got to have some idea of what may go south.
Oh, listen, no, I think there's a lot of things that can go south on any appointed board for anything. I think if you get the people get in a mindset and let's say there's 3 board members against 4 board members and it turns into just a conflict. You know what I mean? And that can happen. People have personalities. People that all want the same thing can have personality conflicts and kind of throw a wrench in the plans. So I don't want to make any of your daily decisions, but it seems to me like there should be some, maybe it's there and I'm just not picking it up.
Well, I guess what, like if the current board, what they're currently showing as programming is, generally acceptable. Let's say the board decides they want to take programming on one of the channels in a different route, and it's not the route that the people have come to.
That's making their decisions for them.
Well, no,
I don't want to
mean-
do that. I just want to protect the board members if there was conflict within the board that we could, before it just got crazy, that
You
we
want
could
like a
step
recall
in.
provision?
That's something, I don't know why, I don't know how to explain it, but not to mess with their
We are
content at
bound-
I
all.
mean, if it went too far,
It's not going, I mean,
I was just using that for an example.
yeah, but that's not my intent in my statements. I don't want to change, I want you guys to do whatever you want to do. But there should be some kind of fail-safe if it.
We just need
ever
the
got
foot in the
crazy.
door in case something goes wrong.
Yeah,
So
and I doubt if it ever
Yeah,
would.
so- right.
But
So
we're
we
gonna vote on this.
You want to retain the approval of bylaw changes? That's the first question.
Well, isn't that the whole issue?
I think that's part of the ordinance, isn't it?
No.
Section 2?
That is your original.
If you adopt
You're right.
this set of bylaws by ordinance 2 weeks from now, you will be removing that role.
Oh, I see.
If you don't, we'll need to revise this
That's what I think we need
to
to do.
retain it.
Yeah.
And the second question is, this provides for the mayor to appoint board members without the advice and consent of the Board of Aldermen. Would you like for that to remain as is, or do you want him to bring to you whatever
Nope.
nominations he has?
I got no problem with that at all. If you find people that'll
We don't
serve,
have any discussion on
You
that.
you know, right now, I've been to just a few meetings, but I know that there's been people that's been to meetings. I don't know that the board, we've had some resignations, we've had some people leave. I don't know, just as Tom was talking about, I don't know how congenial, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but how together that the board today is working. And you've got it sitting in there right now that the mayor will appoint board members based on the recommendations from the board, from the cable TV board, per their recommendations. So I don't know that you want to probably lose that ability to be able to do that, but at the same time, we're still kind of limited to if we are going to appoint people, either just the mayor or the mayor and the board of aldermen appoint people based on the recommendations from that board, the nominations have to come, or the way it says, it comes from that board. That's okay, the way it is, but it does kind of, I guess it kind of limits you if you want to make any kind of changes in that board. But again, I'm definitely not one that wants to micromanage that board either. I think they ought to be, sure, we provide some financial support for it, but I don't want to run that board. I don't think anybody on here wants to run that board.
Original ordinance provided that appointments may be revoked at any time, with or without cause, by a subsequent ordinance passed by the Board of Aldermen of the city of St. Genevieve. So, once the appointments were made, they continued, but if you had a problem, not the mayor, the board had the right to intervene and revoke an appointment.
And it states your causes too.
Well, it says with or without cause.
Well, there are stipulations in there, like if they don't appear and so forth, they don't
No,
show
that's
up.
your bylaws you're talking about.
Yes.
I'm talking about the ordinance that established it.
Oh, you're on, okay.
Well, I may be barking up the wrong tree, but why are we going to change this? What
They've requested.
What am I looking at? Why is the board taking their time to review this when we already have an ordinance on the books?
Because the Board of,
And what don't you like about the current ordinance, without me trying to read through this and figure it out by myself?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what your
well, we will
ordinance
be
says, because
having
we've
rules
never had it
adopted
brought up
bylaws.
until back then, it's back in '95. There's no record of it ever being told to us. I mean, maybe everybody can remember all that stuff. I can't.
What stuff?
Well, what the ordinance says.
Well, just get a copy of the ordinance, right?
Don't have it.
Right there.
Yeah, we'll
We
have,
hook you up.
Well, I mean,
Tish came and got all this stuff, back when she was redoing the,
well,
she may not have.
there's another problem. We don't know that because, see, Tish left.
Well,
She had another job. She took all that information that she had that she was working on it. Like you said, it took us a year to come up with something. What our original intent with these bylaws was to narrow it down. There were a lot of extra stuff in the old bylaws that just did not apply. So we were cutting that back.
So does your board need to review the current ordinance and then look at what you presented to us and?
I
see
think
how
we
that
should,
fits?
if there's some
Yeah.
question about
I
this.
think Frank's just
Yeah, I
kind
think
of
we
brought
don't
up a key
want-
point here, is under the ordinance we have, the things you're concerned about are covered. So
Yeah,
why would you want to repeal it?
That's my.
So the only question now
as well.
is, we should, if they want to make these changes to the bylaws, you will consider the changes
So, it seems-
and amend them as suits you, and then adopt whatever it is you want to adopt.
Well, it seems to me like that document and this document never cross paths. And it needs to before it comes to it takes our time at this meeting to, with the other city business that we have.
I understand that, but it took us a year to get this stuff done.
Don't get me wrong, I appreciate tremendously all the work that that board does and all your people. I think it's fantastic. I brag on it all the time. But right now, you guys need to look at that and look at this and come back and see if we need to do anything.
And I agree 100% with that. We've got a lot more work to do, but if we can get this done, I don't know what the schedule is. We can come back, we have a meeting next Tuesday. And of course, every one of you in the public's invited to attend it at 6:30 downstairs. And we're always open to suggestions, but yeah, I would like to see some of those questions you're talking about. Martin's showing up down there, and so is the mayor. I'd like to see us all talk about it and get it settled down there, what we can approve, and what would be, apropos to everybody.
What I've heard tonight, what I would bring Tuesday night, is that there's concern about the city's ability to deal with difficult situations on the board, and that's in the existing ordinance, and we're not likely going to change that. There's concern, the provision in this ordinance for the mayor to make the appointments based on recommendations from the board of the station, I think everybody agrees with. And then the final question has to do with whether the board needs to review bylaw changes. And since we're going to keep this, and it provides for that, this will need to reflect the same language. And I think if we do that, everything else is kind of, like you said, it's operational issues, not things the board would otherwise be concerned with.
Otherwise, you'd be loaded with all the stuff like that.
Okay.
Well, I think we've had like 4 people leave in the last couple months or whatever. Jess got the job,
Right.
and then we got Karen resigned, and then
Well,
her daughter was part of it.
Yeah, her daughter was part of it. She went ahead and moved and got another job.
Yeah, she couldn't make the
So
meeting.
she couldn't make the meeting.
And of course, his daughter's not gonna come without her.
Right.
Bob Weiss, I think, did you have correspondence with him, Mayor?
Mhm.
And he's
Don't think he was,
given up.
maybe he had he just, I don't think he was happy, put it bluntly. He wasn't, he didn't like the direction that things were going, so.
That's amazing because he never said a thing to us. We had called him, I don't know how many times, and he wouldn't respond. We even emailed him.
Well, that's not
Yeah.
for here anyway.
But I know, but the thing is, we don't know what's going on in that respect, so.
But as far as the makeup of the board right now, you and Sue and Ed and myself. There's
That's
4
right.
members right now. And we got, well, according to the original, there's supposed to be 9 members.
No, 7.
Well, I mean, no, I mean.
Oh, the old time in 95,
Yeah.
we modified that to 7.
But you
John was
can't,
chairman.
but I guess the point is, you can't modify that to 7. You
Right.
don't have any right to modify that to 7, and I guess that's part of what this whole discussion's
You
about.
need your hands on the ordinance and
Yeah, then we'll
look
go
at it.
from there on.
So if we need to change, if you want us to change that, this board to 7, that's what we'll
And that's
just
what we
review.
do. It's easier to operate.
Sure.
This
You
is
need quorums.
a classic example of good people trying to do a good thing,
Yeah.
but there's some little bureaucracy involved.
Sure.
So you gotta catch up on that part of it and then put your thing together.
Okay, we'll
We need
talk more
to
about it on Tuesday.
make sure Gary gets the ordinance.
No problem.
You wanna give it to him tonight?
I'll give it to him as he walks out the door.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds
Thank you,
good.
Gary.
Okay, at 6:30? Sure, since we got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
All right, we gotta wait till 6:30.
While we're waiting, you remember the paint Fun with Colors run thing that they did last year?
Yeah. There was paint everywhere.
They want to do it again.
Was that the chalk test or the?
It was chalk, it was
It
chalk.
was paint.
Temper,
Baking powder.
temper paint, temper paint,
Whatever.
wasn't it? Water-based paint.
Yeah.
After the event, we did kind of a debriefing, and I think everybody thought that it went well and didn't cause problems for anybody. See any need for them to come back and make another presentation to you for that?
Yeah, I'll let him do it.
Unless a road closing is required, in
Yeah.
which case we'll run the road closing.
We all need to get in that race.
I'm in it.
I know, it's pretty cool.
Want to bring up the fire thing?
6:26.
Okay, that's another one. I can take another minute or two. Chuck Smith, as you know, is demolishing, with your permission, the back part of the mill building. They have some, and we have this kind of open burning permit, and they have some timbers that aren't going to be reclaimed. And at the mill, there's this kind of incinerator that he'd like to use to burn this scrap lumber instead of having to haul it out of the city. As it was described, it was designed for that purpose. I mean, it's made out of, it's lined, it's got screens, and the feed chute prevents him from just dumping large quantities in there and having a huge blaze, because you gotta put it through this hole. It doesn't really fit the ordinance, because we have this 6x6 burn thing, so I didn't feel like I could just give him permission to proceed. So I told him I would bring it up tonight and see kind of what we felt about it and whether we wanted that to occur.
So it's designed for that, to go ahead and burn things?
Yeah.
Look, make a suggestion, at least let the fire chief.
Yeah.
He's called him and waiting for him to call back. But once again, it doesn't strictly fit our ordinance, although I think the way he intends to use it will not be a problem. And it does have that screen so you don't get any flying debris or.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Let him do it.
It's probably gonna burn pretty clean, I would think.
Yeah,
Let him
it's
do it.
old stuff, it's dry.
yeah.
it's, you know.
Old wood, won't
Yeah.
fall.
And this is my stupidity, okay? I didn't realize they were taking that much of the building off in the back. Did you, Tom?
No, I was a little surprised, but
Yeah,
I mean, I
me
think, you know, listen, I'm a freedom thing.
Yeah.
You know, if it's your property and you want to do something, as long as you're not creating a nuisance or affecting your neighbors, knock yourself out.
So everything that's exposed right now with wood, where the tin's off or anything, that's all coming off?
I think
Except for
they're,
the stones and brick structure.
they're going back to the original,
They're going back to the original structure.
back of the, yeah, so everything was added later, came off.
It's coming all the way up to the stone.
Actually, there's some brick, and there's aluminum siding on part of it
Right.
that just is attached to some slats, and they're gonna redo that, but they're going back to, if you had ever gone in that building, there were actually, you could see the wall with the old windows. They're going back to that.
Oh, okay, all right.
All right, I got 6:30. Okay, at this time, the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri will hold a public hearing regarding a nuisance that may exist at 409 LeCompte Street. The Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Genevieve has received notification that a nuisance may exist at 409 LeCompte. City staff has investigated complaints concerning trash, junk, rubbish, and other debris on the driveway at the property. City has made several informal attempts to have the nuisance removed. The owners, trustee Joyce Conway, Revocable Living Trust, and R. Kenny and Donna Nagar of the property were given until Friday, January 9th, 2015 to voluntarily abate the nuisance. The nuisance was not abated within the time allotted. Thus, the Board of Aldermen of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri has ordered the owners of the property at 409 LeCompte to come before the Board of Aldermen on Thursday, January 22nd, 2015, at 6:30 p.m. at City Hall, 165 South 4th Street, to show cause why they should not abate the nuisance upon the property.
Now, on the advice of City Council, going to conduct this hearing and all future hearings for similar purposes, kind of as an evidentiary hearing. So what will need to occur is that Petrie will go first. She will introduce the evidence, and you will be considering whether this evidence supports the issuance, the declaration of a nuisance, and a subsequent issuance of an order of abatement. In order for evidence to be properly entered, the witnesses are supposed to be sworn in. So as Petrie comes up, I will, as a notary public, it's weird, notary publics can swear people in. I'll swear her in, and any citizen who wants to speak before they present their evidence. Okay, Petrie,
Where do you want me to?
it's right there. You can
Okay.
sit. No, you need to go to the podium so you get the microphone.
Yeah, because I'm just gonna turn it
No.
over to Carl. Oh, here. Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or state that the evidence you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please say I do,
I do.
or I don't.
I'm Petrie Powell, the Community Development Administrator, and when I first arrived here, I had received a complaint concerning trash and debris that was located on the side of the property at 409 LeCompte. You have photographs in your packets, as well as the color photographs that are going around. The complaint was initially made, that I was aware of, by Mr. Carl Miller, who is here as well, and will talk to you briefly. What I did was then attempted to find out who owned the property. It was our understanding that the property had recently sold in a tax sale and was in the one-year period of redemption, which means that the previous owners of the property were able to pay the taxes and reclaim the property during that period. Nevertheless, it presented a dilemma for us because we didn't exactly know who the owners were. We were under the impression in reading the statute that the buyers were at the tax sale were the actual owners. And so I actually sent them a letter saying, congratulations on your purchase. However, it's a nice house, but there's a bunch of stuff on the side of it that is a nuisance, in our opinion. And could you please remove it? And I got a call from Ms. Nager, and she said, upon advice of counsel, that they were not the actual owners of the property. This presented a dilemma for us because the former owners is a trust in Modesto, California. Mr. Miller came in several times to renew his complaint about the debris that was located on the driveway. And so what I did was I sent another letter to both the trust in Modesto, the Joyce Conway Revocable Living Trust, and Mr. and Mrs. Nager in Bloomsdale, asking them again to remove the debris or come before the board and go through the nuisance abatement procedure. The report to you is in your packet, and basically what I am asking is that you declare the nuisance and also make the recommendation, declare the nuisance and direct me or Mr. Toma to abate to order the abatement of the nuisance, which again would require a newspaper notice, and for us to send notices to the presumptive owners, whoever they may be, and also put it in the paper, because again, I think the ownership is unclear, certainly to the folks involved. And if the property is not, the nuisance is not abated on the property, for us to go in and abate the nuisance. That means that we can either hire an outside company to come in and remove all the debris and trash and rubbish and household items that are been there for quite some time, or we could have our public works folks do it. Probably wouldn't take much effort at all, and remove it, and then and then you would direct the city clerk to issue a special tax bill that would become a lien upon the property, and then, quite frankly, then it will become the assessor's determination as to who actually pays the tax lien, and it takes it out of our hands and will be reimbursed for the costs when the taxes are paid. So that is what I know and what I'm aware of, and I have seen the trash and debris. It's quite voluminous. There's a lot of household items. There's a lot of stuff under the tarp. It's been there for approximately 2 years. The grass has been cut, but this debris is still there, which means that it's a breeding ground for rodents and vermin and reptiles and smells, and it also leaves the impression with the neighborhood that this is an uncared for vacant property. So I would recommend the declaration of a nuisance, and to proceed, I gave you a list of things that will need to be said if you do that. Other than that, if you have any questions?
Are any of the windows broken? You mentioned cleaning up the inside of the interior of the
Oh,
property?
no, the outside. It's
Only the outside.
Only
Okay.
that. We would not go into the
Okay.
inside. No,
That-
it's
that-
just
that
the
was-
debris on the driveway.
Gotcha.
Right.
How quick can we do this?
Can
20
Mr.
days.
Nager's here, okay? Kenny, can you come forward, please? Okay.
Wait. Are there any further questions for Petrie?
Yeah, any questions for me?
We're not done with people.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry, apologize.
I'm just saying.
You're-
I'm done.
You're
Okay,
done.
great.
Yeah, Mr. Nager. Would you please come forward, state your name and address, and raise your right hand and be sworn?
Ken Nager, Bloomsdale.
Raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or state that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Kenny, are you in possession of this property now?
No, that's the problem. I'd be glad to clean it up, but we've got it when we bought it at the tax sale. the letter from the courthouse stated in bold letters that we weren't allowed on the property, that we do not own it. So, like I was discussing, I'd be glad to clean it if I know they could actually get me for trespassing the way I read it, so.
And I don't know the legalities of this, but were the city to take the action we're about here to take tonight, one of our options would be to go out and hire somebody to clean it up, the cost of which would eventually become a lien on the property. Or we could employ you to do it.
That's
And
fine.
then it would
Give me
be
a
done
dollar, I'll do
at
it.
no cost and no lien we put on the property because you wouldn't bill us.
That's fine.
When is the year of redemption
It-
over?
It would be roughly October, I believe, at the tax sale times, that's roughly October, yes. And
You can't let it sit there like that long.
And I can see a problem too, that when the summer comes, there's gonna be a grass issue and everything else. If I can legally do it, I'd be happy to keep it.
In terms of volume, how much do you think is there? Would it fill a 20-yard dumpster?
Probably not quite, there's quite a bit there, yeah.
Probably a couple of
All right, so if we could estimate the size, the volume, then maybe we could,
Well, I looked at it, and I've got a 16-foot trailer, and I think I can get it
Okay.
on there, so.
Do a deal.
well, you got to act first.
Yeah, what do you want to, how do you want me to act?
Declare it a nuisance.
You got to declare it a
Let's
nuisance,
do that.
order abated, we still got to go through the process, but then if it gets abated and, he's reluctant to go on the property, except he will be going on the property
It's
pursuant to
hired
the
by
city's
the-
authority.
To go through the steps. We still have to go through the steps.
Now, is this only for the cleanup of the property? It's not to cut the grass this summer when you're still
but that's not a
afraid to go
nuisance
on the
yet.
property?
We can't act on a nuisance
Have
before
to go
that.
back after that. and,
So it's only for the rubbish and everything that's
What
around
you
the
see
property
right
right
here.
now?
Like I hired
So
to
we-
mow the
we
grass
could-
in May.
We may end up doing something similar to this if we reach a high grass
Right.
issue,
Yeah.
giving
Yeah.
both Mr. Nager and the trust an opportunity to mow the grass. If they don't, we may go through the same process again.
So, okay, so go through the same process to, we have to do it every time the grass is supposed to be mowed, or can we just
Let's,
say?
can we deal with this and don't worry about the future right now?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What, we need a motion to declare it a nuisance?
And in order,
What's the,
Declare the nuisance first, and then determine what it's going to take to abate the
I
nuisance.
make a motion to declare it a
Actually,
nuisance.
direct me or Martin to issue an order of abatement, which would allow 20 days for the abatement. That would have to pass, and then if it didn't get cleaned up in 20 days, then the recommendation could be made at this time that we actually abate the nuisance. And then we would contract with them. So we still have to go through the process.
right.
In order for him not to
Thank
be
you.
trespassing.
I think there's another citizen who would like to provide testimony. Please go to the podium.
He's gonna take care of it? Is that what we're saying? And what I got to say is pretty
Just
much.
go.
Well, go ahead, it'd be
Going
good,
up there.
it'd be good to hear from you. Please state your name and address,
My name's Carl Miller, and I live at 451 McClellan, which is the next house up.
and then raise your right hand. And do you solemnly swear or state that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Sure do. So, anyway, this has been going on it's been a rental house for the whole time we've lived where we are, which is almost 28 years, and it's been a rental house. But the last, 2.5 years ago, the last renters moved out, so it's been sitting vacant since then. And they started a remodeling job on the inside. So all the stuff all their trash and stuff, originally they had it, biggest part of what you see there was on the front porch. So I talked to my alderman one time, and then he talked to whoever, and so they got rid of it, but they only got rid of it from the front porch to the side of the house. And that's where it's been for the last couple of years. And I've seen snakes and rodents and, take a pick, whatever, down there, and it's just, when it's hot in the summer, it smells. So, we try and take care of our place, and most everybody does, but then, you look down there, and then you gotta put up with that for the last 2 years,
Yeah.
you know.
We need to get this taken care of.
And it's aggravating as heck,
Oh, I bet it is, yeah.
you know,
Thank you.
so that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Anyone else like to talk in the public hearing? Okay, so we will close the public hearing at 6:42. And we're not even in set, we have to wait till we can't entertain a motion yet.
You can.
Can I?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to declare this property a public nuisance.
Second.
We'll call it, Mr.
I think was.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Now, make a motion to order the abatement.
I'd like to make a motion to order the abatement.
Second.
Oh,
This is, I would like you to just sort of put in general terms what you think the abatement needs to be. What do you think needs to be done to make this not a nuisance? Now, they're gonna issue an order that's more particular than your general determination, but in general, what do you think it's going to take to abate the nuisance?
To abate the property of all trash, debris, or anything else that would harbor insects, rodents,
In and around the property?
in and around the entire
I would
property.
also say that any grass that is so high as of right now, which there is, because I drove by there, there's weeds around there yet 3 foot tall.
twice last year, the whole year.
Yeah. So we need to put that in there also, that all this needs to be addressed.
Okay. And that's motion, that's part of your motion?
Yes, that is part of my motion.
So you're going to order your staff to issue a more formal notice of what the abatement requires. That's going to be served on them, and it's going to be published in the paper. But I think that's enough to give them the general instructions that you're giving.
Who are you going to serve this on? The Conway.
You're going to do by mail and
Trust
by
and,
newspaper.
send out some, they're getting the mail on this one.
You can do it by mail.
We're also gonna run a paper, so.
And you need to say, if you want to, of course, if the nuisance is not abated, then the city can abate, and then that way we can contract.
Yeah, you're giving them, was it 20 days?
Yeah, 20 days.
20 days to voluntarily abate, and then your order would say that if they don't do it, then the city is instructed to do it. And that'll be in the notice.
Yeah.
okay, so you changed your ordinance, who seconded that?
I do.
You okay with that change? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you.
You can do that tomorrow if you want.
Well, he's reluctant to go on the property,
So
the
it's
advice of
valid.
this council.
Right.
Yeah,
But I think
he wants to operate under your authority if it comes to that. If the trust doesn't come down and do it, he wants to have some letter from you.
They got 20 days.
He's gotta wait.
He's got to wait 20 days at least. We have to wait 20 days to give them a chance to respond, then it'll take us however many days to get the
I
paperwork
see.
done.
Yeah.
But hopefully within around 30 days or so. And boy, thank you for making this happen. We have so many other things that seem like they drag on forever. And I would encourage anybody who has neighbors with a situation like this to get right down to City Hall. And
Okay, I
we can
can't-
clean some things up.
I can't go in there before 20 days, is that right?
And until you, that's right.
Well,
Until you are a proxy of the city.
As far as we're concerned, you could go on there tomorrow.
Yeah.
right, I mean.
That's not-
But if you're
Your
not
attorney says
comfortable,
you should
you
read
wouldn't
it.
want the trust to file a nuisance complaint or something, or trespassing complaint.
Well, winter time's not as big of an issue, correct? I mean, as far as smells and critters or whatever, so the 20 days is not gonna make that much difference after 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years, what's 20 more?
Yeah, right.
No, we're gonna reopen that public hearing as part of the regular agenda.
So, okay. Mr. Renee, thank you, and thanks for, hopefully, we'll work through this in cooperation, and everything will end up, and October, you'll have a nice house to work on, I hope.
Yeah, it is a nice house.
Thank you.
Looks like a good structure, really.
This is a start. We've got 10 to 15 minutes before the meeting yet, so I think we're done with the work session and the hearing.
Do anything?
25, 39, that's a darn good age. Like I promised, here's a great tune. Glenn Miller's In the Mood. Let's dance. And we're very proud of this next tune. It's on our volume 2. Ball in the Jack. Let's dance with it. Ball in the Jack. request for, and we had it on our volume 1, and guys, that old tune hadn't been around for years, and all at once everybody catches on again. Little Josephine, let's dance with it. Josephine.
Talking with Steve and Terry, their thought was to present this to the city, was that we probably should have a work session at some point to go over the plans with the city and get any input that anyone from the city or the council may have. So if the board is agreeable to that, we'll probably be working on getting that scheduled here in the near future. We are also looking at, there's several permits we'll be applying for over the next few weeks. We do intend to apply for our DNR permit here shortly as well. I think that's really all I have. If anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer any questions, but we hope here over the next few weeks sometimes we'll be down here in front of the city and we can show you what we've got for plans and get any comments that you guys may have.
Good, sounds good.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. Okay, Martin?
Okay, I'm going to be brief. I know you find that hard to believe. We sent the letter of intent to the St. Genevieve School District regarding the ball fields. Their meeting was this week, the board meeting. I haven't heard. I think it was last night. So we should be hearing about whether the board formally supports this idea that they've already informally suggested they support. We met with, I didn't meet with, but I had a call from the hospital administrator regarding that outstanding issue on the agreement for the TIF funds for the nursing home project. And, so everybody, they seem to be working in the direction of getting back before you for a revision to what is now kind of an expired agreement to over on those funds and the TIF. We got the Cresslawn estimates from the engineer. I'll be bringing you a resolution at your next meeting to employ Bear Engineering for the design work on redoing the road, main road coming in. The estimates on doing the main road and overlaying the road that connects to the Catholic cemetery, just about, it's like, leaves $1,000 in that account. So I don't know how the actual bids will come in. So what I plan to do is go ahead and bid it as a two-part process. One would be replacing the main road, and then the option would be, if there's funds available, to do the overlay. If not, we have enough money to do the main road without totally wiping out the band fund. And cemetery fund. We've run an ad on even though we haven't approved the textcaster yet, we started putting out the word that it may be coming. It was in our newsletter, and it's been reported in the paper. At the point that we approve that, then we'll start in earnest to advertise its availability. Finally, at the levy district meeting, I think I've told you before that the the mechanism that raises and lowers the gates has not functioned well over the years. It's a threaded rod with a brass cap that you manually turn, and it's too heavy, and so it keeps breaking the screw. The levy district has been trying ever since I've been here to get the Corps of Engineers to approve an alternative method. It finally happened. So they're going to be installing a hydraulic lift system that will raise and lower those gates so they don't have the problems that they've had.
The levy district got the money to do this.
Yes.
Questions, anybody? Okay, any committee reports? Anybody? Okay, at this time then, it being 7:07, the Mayor and Board of Aldermen will reconvene a public hearing from June the 18th, 2014 regarding the nuisance at 498 South 4th Street.
The reason we're handling it this way as an extension or reconvening of a prior hearing, the evidence has already been before you, so you have knowledge of the condition and have declared it a public nuisance. What we failed to do at that time, and Frank has advised us, is as you just did with the LeCompte property, you need to give specific direction to the staff what steps should be taken to abate the nuisance. So the purpose of this hearing is for you to provide that direction to us, so we're proceeding with, in this case, I think demolition has been your recommendation, with your specific authority on the record.
The motion would sound something like this: based upon the evidence that you've heard, and based upon the recommendations of your staff, and based upon the PowerPoint presentation that's going to be part of the record, we believe it requires blank to abate the nuisance. That's what the motion would sort of be shaped like.
I'll go with that.
What he said.
Fill in the blank.
And then fill in the part where we just demolish it.
That's what you believe is required to abate the nuisance.
I would like to make a motion.
Wait a minute, we got to get through the public hearing
Oh.
first. Petrie, is there anything that you need to add as far as the hearing goes?
You weren't here, so I'm going to swear you in.
You don't have to swear me in again? No, just so that you know, Mr. Jones and I did,
I think you have to, at the
Oh, I
public
have to do
hearing,
it
do you
again?
solemnly swear or state that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Jimmy Jones, our former building inspector, and I went into the building just recently to take photographs of the interior so you have a better idea of the condition of the property, and made our recommendation that the only way that the city, we believe, that can abate the nuisance is for complete demolition of the property, to fill in the basement with clean fill and cap off all the utilities. That's our recommendation to you. If you have any questions for me or Mr. Jones, we're here to answer those questions.
Anybody? Nope. Anybody else to address the board in the public hearing? Okay, it be 7:10, we'll close the public hearing.
Oh, are we going to ask them to order you to give them an additional notice that says this is what you have to do to abate, or we're going to do it?
We've already given the order of abatement.
Okay, we want you to accept the notice that we've already given them, but we want to fill in that blank that says that that's what you determined to be necessary to abate. We don't quite have that in our sequence. Okay? But they've already been given that notice. But you folks didn't formally recommend or determine that's what's required to abate.
So I could make a motion at
But
this time.
he's got to close.
We did.
Just
Okay.
I would like to make a motion at this time to take for city staff to direct and take action on abatement at 498 South 4th Street, up to and including demolition and fill of the basement and the property brought back to mowable grass.
Second.
I second it, yeah.
And that notice has been given, and so they're going to take immediate action based on your finding.
And direct the city clerk to issue a special bill.
Yes, and directed the cost of the abatement be taxed as a special.
So we have a motion and a second. Do we need to take,
Well, you're okay with adding that to
Yeah,
your motion?
absolutely.
Okay. And second, you're okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Everybody's clear? Okay. Opposed?
Yeah. And this is going to cost more than $5,000, and I took the liberty of running the advertisement, requesting bids for demolition, and it went to paper this week.
Good.
well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jimmy. Okay, at this time, we have the approval of the treasurer's report for December.
Motion to approve.
Donnie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes of January 8th regular meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes of the closed session of January the 8th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the St. Genevieve Board of Aldermen closed session on Thursday, January the 8th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the minutes of the closed session meeting of January the 19th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Resolution 2015-11, a resolution reappointing Sue Geck to the St. Genevieve Community Access Channel 990-991.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2015-12, a resolution reappointing Gary Whitener to the St. Genevieve Community Access Channel 990-991.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2015-13, a resolution appointing Mr. Phil Loida to the St. Genevieve Industrial Development Authority Board.
Move approval. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Resolution 2015-14, a resolution of the City of St. Genevieve, Missouri stating intent to apply for a Missouri Department of Natural Resources grant for fiscal year 2015, 60% federal share, 40% local share, Historic Preservation Grant Fund in the amount of $8,468 for the city's share.
Keith, you can come address the board.
I've given you, today was on your table before you. I have revised those numbers in order to accurately assess the staffing that will be required in order to develop the protocol and data collection for the historic preservation resources. That's existing staff time, so it's not an actual cash outlay in addition to our normal salaries. So the total for purposes of the grant is still just $7,000 in cash, which will come from the water fund for the purposes of the GIS program, which was already in the budget. But the total grant is $11,390. $7,000 of that is our contribution toward the project, and $4,390 is for staff time. The rest of it would come from the grant in the amount of $12,790. And I've revised that resolution for you so that it reflects those actual numbers. if you have any questions. I kind of thought the staff report would come first, where I could talk about GIS a little bit, but I know we don't have a lot of time, so any questions?
Okay, so we do.
So it's amended.
So there is a new number.
It's a new number. It's $11,390 for the city share.
Which is accurately reflected in the resolution. It's just the supporting documentation changed.
Yeah, and the grant application is attached, as well as the resolution from the Historic Preservation Commission.
Can we vote on this resolution if the right amount's not in there?
It is the right amount. She just,
Amended.
the grant document that supports it was amended.
Oh, okay, all right.
Well, no, the actual resolution was amended to reflect the
Well,
accurate
the
amount.
resolution they have before them is the accurate, the 11,300.
Yes.
You get it?
Okay. Motion. Okay, motion, second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Is this a competitive grant, or?
It is a competitive grant, and we're told that don't expect, to get it. So if we get it, it'll be great. If we don't get it, we're still going to put in a GIS system. We just won't have the historic preservation layers to put in at this time. And it's not really because of the staff time, it's more because we won't have the money for interns to go and collect data, fortunately. I mean, we have a lot of historic properties that need to be analyzed. They haven't been looked at really since 2001. So, some staff input on that.
Okay, thank you. Resolution 2015, a resolution directing the city administrator to seek bids for the demolition of the house at 498 South 4th Street.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Old business, bill number 4003, second reading.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a textcaster license agreement between the City of St. Genevieve and Mobile Media Technologies, LLC.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Alderman Tom Couch.
Yes.
Alderman John Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Jokers.
Yes.
Alderman Richard Hook.
Yes.
Alderman Donald Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Joe French.
Yes.
Alderman Teddy Ross.
Yes.
We have 7 yes, 0 no, and 1 absent. Bill number 4003 now becomes ordinance number 3942.
Okay, thank you. New business, bill number 4004, first reading.
An ordinance ratifying the local designation of existing historic districts to the St. Genevieve Landmarks Register.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, bill number 4005, first reading.
An ordinance repealing Chapter 410 of the St. Genevieve Municipal Code in its entirety and enacting in lieu thereof a new Chapter 410 Historic Preservation.
There's a one-pager that I put in, sorry again, that includes edits that we'd like to include in this ordinance that came from my discussions with Ms. Caldwell, who was also speaking with Mr. Mueller. And I think this should satisfy the remaining issues that they may have had on this. I emailed this to her, and I don't know whether it's okay, but these are fairly simple and straightforward. So it would be this ordinance with these amendments. If that makes sense.
Move to approve of these amendments.
Okay. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. That's it. Okay, I guess we go into public comments, anyone?
I'm Karen with Downtown Mall. Sorry. I'm Karen Repart with Downtown Renewal. I'm new elected president for this year, and we just really want to make a push to work more with the city and have more of a presence, knowing what's going on. It's our goal to have a representative here at each of the Aldermen meetings. We'll see if that happens. But we've got some big things slated for this year. We want to, traditionally, we've been together for like 9 years, and they haven't used all 4 pillars of the Main Street approach. So we're really trying to instill that this year. We have Missouri Main Street Connection coming to us in February to do a board retreat to really kind of help us get an overall vision. I've met with Petrie a few times. We really want to work more with you guys and have more, I guess, collaboration with you guys. So anyway, I just wanted to introduce myself. We've got pretty much a whole new board this year. So it's my goal to kind of give you updates as we have them coming. The biggest thing we're working on now is the chocolate walk for February. We traditionally have done really well at promotions, but we've not done anything as far as, but we've not done as much with economic development and design committee and those things. We really want to strengthen our committees this year, so.
You have a Facebook page that.
We do have a
I would
Facebook
encourage
page.
people to like, because she posts, she doesn't post too much that you get sick of reading, but enough to give you an idea of what they're doing.
Yeah, we, the thing that I'm really pushing for this year is for us to strengthen all of the businesses in our district. So the identified district is from the Gabourey to the Gabourey, from the west side of 4th Street down to the river. And traditionally, they have just included the merchants like Show Me Shop Melange, My Shop, but we have several other businesses in the district that have been left out. So we invited all of them to join in the chocolate walk this year, and we have actually about 30 participating businesses this year. So that's going to be really good for us. We are limiting the tickets to 300, and I have a feeling we'll sell out. We sold 274 last year. So we want to do more for the entire district and it not just be. Traditionally, things have been said that it's, we're just about North Main Street and not about different parts of the city, and I don't want to have that view at all. I want us to be more involved with everything that's going on and do what we can to help out. And I really feel like St. John's on the verge of exploding and doing some really great things, or sinking. And I think we've got so much opportunity and so much to go for. So we've got a lot of really good, positive energy on the board, new people, new ideas, and we've worked on our strategic plan and have a bunch of goals set up for us. So I just wanted to let you all be aware that we have a whole new, and I can get you guys all the board information. So.
Kara, I appreciate your enthusiasm. Absolutely.
Thank you.
I really do.
Thank you.
I think that's great.
So I also own Simple to Sassy down on North Main Street, and I just today signed papers on the house at 150 Jefferson, which has been vacant for 10 years and will be restored to its former glory of 1900. So we just, yeah. So you'll be hearing from me because there are some nuisance properties around the area there too.
Yeah, we know.
Outstanding.
You involved with the ribbon cutting for the new Tudor?
Yeah, so I've got to be at the shop, but we do have 3 representatives from Downtown Renewal going tomorrow.
I think that's at 1 o'clock tomorrow?
That's at 1 o'clock, yeah.
On 3rd Street, across from the 7 o'clock?
Yes, the old Ice House building.
Thank you.
I will invite you guys to February 22nd and 23rd. We have Missouri Main Street coming in, and when we know more about what the actual agenda is going to be, I can share that with you, but we're still working out all the kinks with that, so.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll go ahead and go into staff reports then.
You want to do the
Street closing.
street closing
Oh.
while we're here?
The other business, yeah, we can, not where we had, that's fine. We have the approval of a street closure request for the St. Genevieve County Community Center for Saturday, February 14th for the Polar Bear Run. Closure would be Progress Parkway from approximately 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now we'll go back to the staff reports, and Sandra is at another meeting, so we're going to throw her at the end if we could. So Dave, you go to the top of the list.
Good evening. Bear with me, I'm under the weather last few days, so. As you see on the report, we've been doing been trying to get as much patching done as we possibly can. And been working in the shop. We took the old sewer machine apart and made a trailer out of it to haul our 450-gallon tank for spraying weeds this summer. Mick gave us a wheel off the old ladder truck, the reel, and he's supposed to be giving us a pump, so we'll be getting that ready. And I figured by the time we get all that stuff, it'd be time to spray weeds, I hope. And good news is that we only used about 5 tons of salt so far this year, or this budget year. And it really wouldn't make me mad at all if we didn't use any more.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Questions for Dave?
Hey Dave, when I cleaned out Chadwell Creek Bridge,
Mhm.
the other day I went by there and there were bubbles, like soap bubbles.
We didn't do that.
No, I wondered if you noticed that.
Uh,
Probably not when you were there.
No, no.
Where is that?
I've seen that before too.
That,
Yeah.
Yeah, on
In-
the Chadwell Lane.
yeah, but what, in
What's
what's,
down the creek? I don't know
Creek,
what caused it.
yeah.
I've seen it before too.
where it makes the turn? Just right there, where the
Well,
road
by
makes the
slab,
turn?
And then it's
Right by the
it's about
slide.
the slab that were.
It's a low water bridge.
Yeah, I know.
No, I didn't see this, but I've seen it in the past, and I wonder why it was like
Yeah, I
that.
don't.
That's
Everybody, or those
that's
two
because
houses
there's fish
on
in there
on
now.
that
There
side of the
wasn't fish
street,
here.
they're on the sewer, because the sewer line runs right through there.
The sewer line runs through.
Like somebody put soap in there or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, I've seen that before too, Don. Same thing.
Soap and what?
In the water
Oh,
there.
just to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Dave, thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Dave.
Eric?
Good evening. As you can see in my report, our guys have been busy pouring soap in the Gabourey. Sanitize it. Yeah, trying to clean it up, one creek at a time. Nothing really major to report. One of our chargers has laid down on us. It's been in the shop for a little over a week now. Again, it was one that probably should have been replaced this year, but we'll look at next year's budget on that. We introduced you to Kyle Brown. I don't even know that or Caleb Brown, I should say, that I included that in the report, but I think everything's rolling along.
I noticed Officer Brown wearing a body cam.
We have one that we've been using for a T&E that was given to us by Digital Ally.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Heard you took down a deer this week. Did it give you much resistance or what?
I did not. One of the officers was called to a deer that had been struck up in the park, and they had to put it down, but I think it went all right. As well as it should, I guess.
Besides your 2007 Dodge Charger that we're getting the engine work on, what other vehicle is next in line to be replaced?
We've got 3 that would be in line. We've got 2 Impalas in that Charger. The Impala recently went through, we had to go in to add a fuse block and wiring harness that failed on that. We've had transmission issues with both of the Impalas. We had an issue, a really ongoing, recurring pain with the one as far as losing power while driving, and kept bringing it back in. That was the one that ended up getting the fuse block and the wiring harness, but it's got some electrical issues. So we'd have the 3 that really need to. Yes. Yes.
Anything else for Eric?
Really quickly, at the last meeting, I believe, maybe 2 meetings ago, it was asked about earlier street closings for Girafett. I talked to Jamie Inman this morning about that. They would prefer, or they would like to see the availability of closing the streets at 6 for Girafett on that Friday. I'm not terribly opposed. The businesses that would typically have been affected before, the Anvil and your business and Sandbar wouldn't have been affected because it would close at 2nd Street down. However, Autobahns would potentially be affected by that. So we would look at restricting the traffic to allow the vendors to come in. And for those of you that may not have been at that meeting, the concern was the vendors coming in at 10 o'clock or or midnight to come set up and then have to be open early in the morning. They were kind of hoping for an earlier push at getting some of their booths set up earlier than after the 10 o'clock, which we had allowed in the past. So I'm not terribly opposed to it. Again, like I said, I'd like to talk to Audubon's and make sure we could work something out with them, that they would be okay with the amendment of the street closures, but I just wanted to at least make the board aware. Yes, sir.
You can still drive through there all night.
Right. And
still.
And that's what we're looking at.
It's gotta be like that for the fire department, so I
Right.
don't know what the big deal would be, because you can still get down through there. It ain't real tightly all.
Right. I'm not a huge fan of a bunch of vehicular traffic while there's people, a bunch of pedestrian traffic as well, but like you said, it's been going on for a long time, and as long as people use their head, it should be okay.
You know, I think maybe with some signage, we could handle it, in terms of making sure somebody doesn't try and come through who's blind to what's going on.
Right. Well, it would be, we would barricade at 3rd Street like we always have, enough so that vehicles can get through, and then more of a harder roadblock with the Jerdafet staff at 2nd Street, because they would be registering people anyways. So it would really be Main Street that would be the biggest issue, and we could certainly remedy that with increased signage.
Biggest thing is it's the same people you have trouble with every year. I mean, I've been working down there out 6-8 years, it's the same, you know.
When do we need to make a decision about this? Got plenty of time?
Yeah, it was fresh on my mind and.
Oh, and there's stuff they send to the vendors?
Right.
I got you.
When they do that. Well, it's probably done on.
Probably wearing up now.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
And talking to her today, I told her I thought 6 would be fine, I just wanted to make the board aware of that. So, I'm sure they will come at some point in time and get a formal street closure, but just to have that fresh in your brains, that's where it was left with her today.
I think they were kind of wanting us a nod to put it on their webpage, you know.
If it's a problem, then we can amend for next year.
Exactly.
It'd be a good trial.
Thank you, guys. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Tree tree.
Don't really have anything to add, other than if you all do have the second reading of the Historic Preservation Ordinance, our Landmarks Commission will be no more, and we'll have a Heritage Commission, and we have 5 vacancies. So keep that in mind. We do have somebody who may be applying for a certificate of appropriateness, and so we'll have to get that filled as soon as possible. Everything else, I think, is pretty self-explanatory in my report. If you have any questions, I'd be happy
Do we have anybody ready to step into those vacancies?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yes. Which I'm telling you, there is lots of interest.
Excellent.
There you go. All right. What's the timeframe on that after we get the board?
Well, the meeting
same night?
usually occurs the 3rd week in the month, the 3rd Monday. So we'd have to be ready to go at the next meeting with some proposals.
And along those lines, I'd like to encourage anybody that may be paying attention, if you are interested, get your name submitted for consideration by the mayor, and do it as soon as possible, so that we're ready to hit the road running.
That same night, maybe.
That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
That way there would be no gap in the timeframe for folks who do have applications. Right now, we don't have any, but I suspect we'll have one here shortly.
Sounds
So,
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pete.
Steve?
Evening, everybody.
Evening.
As usual, we had a few main breaks last month. We had one on Marion, Westwood, and Gage Street, all 4-inch cast iron lines. Yeah. Also, since the last report was given, we put out for bid for the SCADA system panel at the water plant we discussed a while back. We also put out for an RFQ for a new well. Those bids are to be open next week. I've talked to a couple of engineering firms and both on the water side or the well side and the electrical panel side. Looking forward to some good submittals on both of those.
What do you have on Portis?
That was a 6-inch leak on Portis. 6-inch cast iron line.
At a prior meeting, I was asked the question, when we had the street torn out, if we had done any water line or sewer line work, and while we hadn't done any replacement, we did abandon an old line and investigated the existing water lines to make sure that they, while it was open, if you needed to fix anything, you would fix it. Obviously, this is a failure in the line that was there. Where did it fail, and what is it impossible to anticipate based on that inspection that you did when Portis was moved?
Yeah, we excavated it at 9 different locations, or 7 different locations down that street, moving the taps from the original 2-inch line over to the 6-inch line, abandoning the old 2-inch line. We have never had a leak up until last week on that 6-inch line. The 2-inch line was always the one that leaked and caused us to excavate in the street. Upon inspection of the outside and the internal coupons that we took of the pipe looks great. I mean, it looks brand new. Anticipating a leak of this nature is, I mean, it's impossible. You know, I still say the line is in great shape.
Anything else for Steve? Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. See the report from the fire department. We're slowly gaining on our firefighters. We added another new one. It still looks like we're about 4 short, so anybody interested in that, we would love to have you. And Sandra just walked in, so.
Right on time.
Hello. I had another meeting that I was going to go to after the Alderman meeting, and then you switched the staff reports to the end, so I went to that one first and came over here second. So we have some stats there. You have a sheet that looks like this. Yours might be in color. Yes. So we're very excited to say that for the first time, the number of visitors counted through the Welcome Center exceeded 20,000 in 2014. You can see your copy may be highlighted in yellow. We had 20,506. The month of December was up about 10% over last year, and of course we really can't compare last year too well for, excuse me, it's 10% over the year over last year. And I didn't compare it to December 2013 to December 2014 because 2013 was just such a mess. Passports, we had 29 adult passports sold in December. You know, not all of the homes that are open for historic home tours have heating systems. They also don't have air conditioning systems, of course, but they don't all have heat, so they're not all open in the winter. We don't usually sell adult passports in the winter, but sometimes when we talk to someone, they seem like they might be interested in seeing a couple of the homes and then make a return trip to St. Genevieve. Of course, we always push for the sale and the return trip. Outreach, I did just participate in a Missouri Division of Tourism display with other tourism programs from around the state at the American Bus Association meeting. This was in downtown St. Louis, of course pushing market share for our destination. Typically you don't have, those are long-term development prospects. Typically you would expect to maybe book some business in 2016 or even 2017. But people were very interested and receptive, and we've had one tour that was already planning a 2015 visit to St. Louis, call since that conference and add St. Genevieve on as an extended trip that their people can participate in even on 2015 business. So I really feel excited about that. We got a little 2015 business out of it too. We're also doing follow-up with all of the contacts that were made at that show. Local merchants reported a good turnout and brisk sales during the 2014 holiday Christmas festival. And the Super Wine Weekend on January 10th and 11th was the first big tourism type event for this year. You have a list of all the upcoming events. This is the format that we've gone to for event reporting. This includes all of the downtown events, the wine country events, private events like the Bolduc House has their Landmark Day celebration in May. So this one goes from January through basically through the July 4th celebration. Then there'll be another one that comes up for the second half of the year. In this way, we're able to get these into people's hands, and maybe they can't come back again this month, but maybe they'll plan another trip in the next couple of months. So that's what we're trying to do there. How many people saw the Great Day St. Louis segment on January 9th?
I did.
Great, great. If you missed it, it's up on the homepage of the visitstgen.com website. So if you want to send that link to any friends or anything like that, enticing them to come and experience St. Genevieve, please do so. As you know, ASL Pewter is our newest attraction in downtown St. Genevieve. They had their soft opening. They've been open for a few days. And their grand opening is this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And there's a ribbon cutting tomorrow. And I know if you read the paper, you know that they are going to be giving away an absolutely beautiful pewter canister with a jewel on top. So be sure to stop by and register. Maybe you'll win the big prize. We have another new business that's going to be opening up that is also tourism related, Main Street Storytellers and St. Genevieve Ghost Tours. This is going to be on Merchant Street in the building where Jody had Sunshine Cakery last summer. This gentleman has been very involved with some of our art walks and downtown renewal activities and supporting of that. And he is very much a history buff, loves St. Genevieve, and is excited about offering something new and different to do, whether you're local or a visitor. So watch for St. Genevieve Ghost Tours to be coming on board in April. We had, I don't know how many people heard about it, but there was a lot of uproar over regulatory proposal by the Missouri Department of Transportation over signage on the interstates in particular, and a concern about their proposal to refine and consolidate those signage programs and the impact that that might have in particular on smaller tourism destinations like ours. There was a flurry of paperwork hitting MoDOT's offices in Jefferson City, and they have since reconsidered that. Our mayor sent a letter, and many other people signed online petitions that were going around, so thanks to everyone who participated in that. And the good news is they've decided to back off on it. I'm sure it'll come about in some other form, or we'll see it repackaged and come out, but for now they're backing off on it, so that's good news for us and all the other small communities like us. And just continuing efforts with publicity, advertising, event committees, and economic development. So that's my report. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion to go into a short closed session to discuss real estate.
Motion to go into closed session?
Second.
Alderman Tom Powell.
Yes.
Alderman John Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Mike Jokers.
Bob.
Yes.
Alderman Richard Cook.
Yes.
Alderman Darrell Stupi.
Yes.
Alderman Joe Franz.
Yes.
Alderman Teddy Ross.
Yeah. Just agreed to give the city $100,000.